Hi everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Happy Friday? Is it Friday today? You lose track of time when you're all jacked up on pain meds, but regardless of that fact, we're going to take a look at XRP with my left hand and help you understand what's going on, what's going to happen next. I got a lot of requests and questions recently just about, where is it heading and is this going to sustain? I think it is, just in the general sense of the fact that I expect Bitcoin to probably bounce in the 19,200 to 18,800 range. But generally speaking, right now, we want to kind of look at the micro more so and see what's going on, because we got some really ugly candlesticks from yesterday, pretty much across the board with all other coins. I do want to highlight a really awesome positive first. Just so you can kind of see this here, because with our signals that I sent out signal for XRP. I don't know if you can see that correctly, but we took 125% this morning at 6 a.m. right when the market had opened and kind of spiked up a little bit, gapped up, and we took 125% in 2.5 days. So pretty awesome profit there. Congratulations to all my community members for holding strong on that one. I know we kind of had to deal with some pretty obnoxious behavior, but we got filled at a really low price, and it was really nice to get that average down to like 48 cents and just sell right at 51. Okay, so anyways, some really cool stuff there. And obviously, if you want to engage in a $10,000 prize pool for my trading community, make sure you register for Bitget. Of course, there is an early bird special, so if you haven't done so yet, or early bird rewards rather, there's $1,000 of reward bonus there to the first 100 members. But more importantly, if you join, you'd have this option roughly every 2 weeks, because the plan is to be able to have a new competition every couple of weeks. And what's great, there's $10,000 given away every single time, and they're based on different prices. One's profit and loss ratio, another is trading volume, the other is just having 3 million volume in the competition, and then 4 members are randomly selected. So again, the whole point is to get you to trade on their exchange. I totally get it, but it's a phenomenal exchange. So what are you waiting for? Be sure to check that out, link in the description below. So here's the thing, with XRP, so we got, let's start with the obvious. We got this really ugly candlestick from yesterday. It is essentially, that's considered a hammer up though. So if you see, it resembles like a hammer, or something that you would be able to inflict pain with. I'm very familiar with pain recently. You can see that the price action had came all the way down and closed really close to its open. Okay, so that's a positive sign. Today we have the inverse, of course. It's closer to a gravestone doji, but it's not filled all the way down. So we got a hammer up and a potential hammer down. Right, so there's conflicting information by all means, but a lot of it has to do with traditional markets just going in the red today, because you can see today we are somewhere in the range of 2% down for traditional markets, and that's not really great. And the dollar index is up as well. Okay, so that's pretty standard, pretty normal to be able to see that happen. Okay, so again, just keep in mind that's roughly where we're at. The general state of the market is funky, to say the least, right now, but I'm expecting some grain upside this weekend. So I think 19,200 should be the immediate bottom for Bitcoin, and that should reflect positively on XRP. All right, so let's look at some standard stuff here, kind of work our way down. We are trending above the 200-day set moving average. That's tentatively working as a support level, and the 50 is working its way up, kind of concurrent with this ascending trend. So I love the 50 and the 200 on the traditional daily time frame, and the reason why I like it is because specifically in this case here, we might actually see a golden cross. Okay, and that's basically just going to push the price action higher, where you just have two really awesome moving averages working for you. It's very similar to the MACD convergence. It's just simple moving averages instead of exponential moving averages. All right, so really cool stuff there in that sense. I like to see that. So we're mostly positive there, kind of reiterating that we have a support between 40 and 50 cents. I know that seems pretty generic, but generally speaking, that is essentially the range. And you can see here that we didn't bounce off 50 on the RSI, but we didn't need to. So we got more room for growth, but we also have more room for downside. So you got to keep this in mind, with us not hitting 50 on the RSI, there's still that potential for further downside. We can see this is starting to dissipate. So if you see this, the MACD is kind of starting to wind down, you could say. Because what you're looking for truly with the reversal, or at least a shift in momentum, is for the next one to be lower or closer, I guess you could say, to the original baseline. So that being said, we want to be able to have something like that, and the fact that it's slowing down is important. Okay, so that momentum to the downside is slowing down, and that's a good sign. So I would say we're probably at like 60-40 or 70-30 as far as positivity, in the sense of the fact that the price should maintain its current price and continue higher from here. But we want to look at smaller time frames to see kind of what that looks like. So obviously we got CPI data in this range here, nice healthy increase overnight, and of course some selling off here when the traditional markets had opened, and also XRP became overextended. So we can see we're still working along this ascending trend, but I'm not worried too much about that trend line. I'm more so focused on these resistance levels and support levels for Fibonacci. So just keep in mind, right around 52 cents is just kind of a round number. You can see there's a pretty strong resistance level as well as Fibonacci. So that will be a point of contention. Okay. Furthermore, we also have roughly 48.3 cents as a key level support that was obviously held in place for quite some time, a good 48 hours almost. So that should work as a support level now. So what we're looking for is probably a bounce around the 48, 49 cent range and for the price to continue higher. It could very well bounce from here. It really just depends on how Bitcoin decides it wants to pursue the rest of its trading day today. I speculate we close above 19,400 today. We're going to see a green weekend. We close below. It's kind of, it's potentially either way, right? But we want confirmation from Bitcoin at 19.4 or higher. That would be excellent. I'll even take 19,200, but anything under 19.2 would be a problem. All right, so we're kind of at that point right now. If we take a look at the RSI, we're bouncing off 50 on the RSI. That's tentatively a positive sign. That hypothetically tells us we shouldn't see any further downside for XRP, but we can see we're starting to lose that momentum. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that the price action's starting to dissipate, okay? So again, just some things to kind of think there about. So generally speaking, if we look at all the moving averages and we kind of put everything together, here, we can kind of interpret that the 4-hour time frame is kind of giving us conflicting information. It's giving us some good stuff here with the RSI bounce potentially and being over the 200-day simple moving average on the 4-hour, but we have that dissipation on the MACD and a handful of other reasons to not feel like 100% confident in this. And what I mean by that is just the 4-hour time frame is giving us conflicting information. Okay. And to me, when I get conflicting information on the 4-hour time frame, that's a transitionary time frame. It tells us that we might have a stall out on the weekend where we may not see much activity from XRP until perhaps even the open, trading open Sunday night at midnight, or sorry, correction, not Sunday night, midnight, Sunday evening, right around 5 p.m. Pacific, between 5 and 7 p.m. Pacific. On Sundays, that's when the Eastern markets open and things start getting a little funny. So pay attention to that. And then obviously the market opens on Monday morning. That's a different story altogether. But it does feel like we're going to probably see some sideways action based on some of those sentiments. If we see TD sequential, though, we take a look here. We got overextended down to the downside. That's why I expected Bitcoin to bounce. Very similar behavior there. Comes up to a 9, consolidates sideways, and increases up again. Okay. So again, we're not hitting this overexhaustive state. Even though we hit a 9 here, we got a nice period of consolidation, followed by further consolidation at a resistance zone. So in that regard, we're looking pretty good here in that sense to kind of likely see a continuation to the upside. The key here is we want to continue to maintain higher lows. So this next low cannot be lower than 48.3 cents because otherwise we'd be essentially printing parallel lows, and that's not really ideal. Okay, so we want to have higher lows, and that's the important thing here to allow this continuation to occur. Okay, so all in all, we're looking mostly positive here. We looked at TD sequential. Let's quickly peek at the Ichimoku cloud. We're back up over the cloud, which is fantastic. Lagging spans potentially intersecting with price action here soon. So unless the price increases, is basically telling us to take some profits from your trade. Thankfully, we've already taken 65, 70% of our profit in our first trade, or our first target. However, there are other targets to hit still too. So I personally feel like we should leave it open because we have a small position size left, and we want to hit our second target of 52 cents. Okay, so in that sense, that's still a strong likelihood because we are above the cloud, and the conversion line's above the baseline. We've got basically 3 out of 3 indicators telling us to leave our position open, but one of them, the conservative indicator, is telling us that while we're losing that momentum, we might be in a position here where this continuation of the upside might stall out. Okay, so again, that kind of corroborates the fact that this weekend would probably be somewhat of a consolidation weekend. We might even see the same thing from Bitcoin, just trending between 19,200 and 19,800. It's kind of range bound in that area right now. And that would essentially put us between 49 and 52 for XRP. So I'm leaning more towards upside this weekend from XRP, but I don't think it's going to be a monster, if that makes any sense. All right, so that's pretty much everything there. That's what I like to cover here. Not too much else we really need to note except for the fact that we're fairly obviously doing a little bit better than yesterday. That's a joke, by the way. Yesterday was a terrible day for a lot of folks. Unfortunately, and this is just friendly advice for my community members and anyone else, if you're using leverage, small position sizes, your liquidation price is much lower, you can survive dips like the one we had yesterday. Okay. Unfortunately, fortunate for us, a lot of our members took 125%, but some folks took that much of a loss based on the liquidation because they had too large of a position size. So 20%, 30% per trade, that's Not a good idea. That's way too much. It's easy to get wrecked when you do that because liquidation is a very real thing. That's why these candle wicks up and down are so tumultuous and very disadvantageous because that's how the whales make their money, right? That's how they can shoot the price up and shoot it down and rebuy at a higher or lower price and essentially average themselves positively at all times. Okay, so it must be nice to be them, but for us, we got to recognize when they're going to be acting and when it's important to step along the sidelines and just kind of wait. So I highly recommend adopting some patience if you want to become a better trader. CryptoCash.tech is a website, link in the description below. I have a trading academy, community, and signal group where I send out the signals for every trade that I take, and we all learn and grow together. It's a phenomenal experience. Be sure to check that out in your own time. I do appreciate you, nonetheless, watching here today, and I look forward to working with you. Have yourself a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one.